In this video I want to show you the latest news from VMware Fusion. For those of you who are like me, are users of an M1 or M2, the ARM architecture of Apple Silicon Macs, you moved there from Windows, or for some reason you need to have a Windows virtual machine, then you are very familiar with Parallels Desktop or VMware Workstation from your days at Windows, or VMware Fusion if you came from an older Mac, an Intel-based Mac, and you're familiar with virtualization. You bought the M1 Mac with the knowledge that you might not be able to virtualize Windows and Linux distros that are based on an x86-64 architecture. Around the time that the first M1 Macs came out, Parallels Desktop announced that they have a version of their software, of their solution, that can virtualize, not emulate, virtualize Windows 10 on ARM and a few Linux distros natively on the M1 Mac. A few days later, VMware, from the huge softwares that are behind there, the makers of VMware Fusion and the more famous VMware Workstation and their many cloud solutions and a lot of very high-end stuff, they announced to the world that they are working on their solution for virtualizing virtual machines based on the ARM architecture. It was a big news, it was a big shock, you can say, because Parallels Desktop were a monopoly for only a limited time. And I knew that very well. I bought a license for Parallels Desktop that lasted a year. This year is over. I bought it last year, around the end of 2021. Now the license is over. And what I have done is actually installing the free solution of VMware. Now they released the stable version and the public version, VMware Fusion 13, and I can't wait to show you this because I'm a huge fan of virtualization and I use it primarily every day for work, for my YouTube channel, and for many other things. I need Windows in my life, despite the fact that I moved to Mac and I appreciate macOS much more, and I think Apple is doing a better job than Microsoft. Due to normal reasons that I think applies to most of us, we need Windows around. We need it to stick around for a while until we're mature enough to completely ditch it off and use only Windows. Even though this is not correct, because when I was a Windows user, I always kept my fair share of Linux distros, VMs, and other things that I won't mention here, such as OS2 and the Retro operating system and many other that I don't think it's very interesting for my casual audience, maybe for my geeky high-end audience like me. Anyway, let's roll out and let's start with the meaning of the video. VMware Fusion 13 now available for Intel and Apple Silicon Macs. This is a universal program for the first time. Of course, not running on Rosetta or something. And as you can see, they're showcasing their ability to virtualize Windows 11 on ARM and Linux distros. This is according to what it's written here. It's a game called Nevaball at 4K on Apple Silicon with Ubuntu 22.10, accelerated by Metal. Metal is an Apple technology. It's very interesting to see that it's here working on a virtual machine of Ubuntu. And he says that he is absolutely terrible at this game. Okay, I'll show you pretty quick how you can download this. Now, the catchy thing, you can say the fishy thing, is that they wrote here, download the trial now, but it's not a trial. You can have a trial of it if you want to use the pro version, but there is also a free non-commercial use version, which I'm going to show you right now, so stick around. Here you can choose to download VMware 13 Pro for macOS 12 or Plus. I'm actually using macOS 13 Ventura. And you also have this Fusion 13 player for macOS 12 Plus. In my Windows days, and I'm sure that many other are remembering the VMware player or VMware Workstation player, this is same notion. you can register here at the website. You create an account and then register for this specific product, and they will generate for you a license key that will be valid without any limited time for your commercial activity, free. I'm not going to show you exactly how to do this. You need to log in. I have an account. So after you will download, register and sign into their website and create an account, you can download the DMG file. I have it right here. It's on my downloads. Also here, this is how it looks, by the way. You double click here, type your password, and the rest is automatic, and it does it alone. It doesn't need you. This is the program, VMware Fusion. This is the UI. Here you have a list of virtual machines. It's very similar. The design is the same. The user interface is the same as the previous versions and as the Intel versions. You can create, however, the slight difference is that on the older versions of Intel-based Mac, you can install a huge variety of operating system. But here on the Microsoft Windows section, category, you may say, you only have Windows 11 64-bit ARM. On the Linux party, you can install Debian from version 10 to 12, Fedora, Red Hat Enterprise, Ubuntu of course, and VMware Photon OS. I checked this. This is a very interesting operating system created by VMware based on Linux and doesn't have a graphical user interface. You can also install other Linux distro that runs on the 5 point something kernel, 64-bit ARM. This is what matters. You cannot install here anything that is not 64-bit on ARM. Logically, you might be able to install here Chromium OS that is based on ARM, and you will put it under the other section because you don't know what operating system it is, and it's based on an ARM. Even though, I'll tell you a little known secret that Chrome OS is based on Linux, like almost any other operating system besides Windows and macOS. So I'll show you super quick how to create a virtual machine. So let's choose Debian. Debian is one of my personal favorite Linux distros. Continue, and here you have the summary. Guest operating system, new hard disk, capacity of 20 gigabytes, it's enough, memory 2. For Debian it's also fine. For Ubuntu it does here 4 if I remember correctly. Device summary, and this is 2 CPU cores. It has a CD/DVD virtual drive, USB controller, sound card. Sounds fine. You can customize your settings later, but I'll show you something. Customize settings does this. Save, and you have here a virtual machine that supposedly run Debian, but of course you need to supply your own ISO. I won't show you how to do this here because this is not the main of the video. Obviously, someday in the future I will show you how to do this, but it will be on a separate tutorial, just how to install Debian. Because I think this Debian is the only Linux distro that you need to see how to install, because it's not the most simple thing. This is the more hard Linux distros to install, much more than Ubuntu, for example. And by the way, I have a working Ubuntu. I didn't install it actually because I'm foolish enough to fill up all of my hard drive. I don't have space for this. VMs take a lot of space, and most of my VMs are on Parallels still. Although you can transfer them to VMware. This is really neat. And here you have it. It's a live install. It's not an install, it's a live version of Ubuntu, and it works. It works just great. You can have here your files, desktop documents. Yeah, this is pretty much what you can expect from any VM running an operating system like that. The only downside I found with this is I couldn't manage to install VMware tools on Ubuntu. I didn't check, so I don't know, but I presume that it's the same throughout all the other Linux distros that it shows here. On Windows, you can get through get through VMware tools, because it's written on their website, and I remember that from the beta versions you had something you can do. Anyway, guys, this is the end of the video. A really quick, really short tutorial just to let you know, because I didn't know that. I discovered it today because I wanted to do a tutorial on something else and it failed usually. So I wanted to tell you that the stable version, the normal version of VMware Fusion, is now available finally for M1 Macs, and now it's also M2 Macs. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for my next videos, and I'll see you in my next videos. Take care. Goodbye.